Well, I'll introduce myself.
Hey, Gabe.
Gabe Giffen,
Yeah, we're sitting
Freetown.
on your front porch, Lafayette, Louisiana.
We are porch sitting. That's where it all started for me. I was dropping a friend of a friend off on the corner, and we made the block. And like you just mentioned, I was noticing all the front porches. My family's originally from New Orleans, and I was going, my goodness, this looks just like the New Orleans shotguns that I recall, and they were cute. And it just so happened the one across the street was for sale that day. And so that weekend we actually went and looked at it, and kind of the rest was history. So that was the first. It's becoming part of our focus. I'll be honest, when I started getting involved with the neighborhood, like I said earlier, I just wanted a safe neighborhood. I wanted to know that our taxpayer dollars were getting refocused back into our neighborhood. I still haven't answered that question, but I was blown away when I found out that we had zero on the books here about short-term rentals. Um, you could go look at New Orleans. There's many a city of an example, and sometimes in Lafayette, I feel like we sit and wait for the problem to come to us instead of just taking the bull by the horns. And so short-term rentals and housing is one of those issues that the city of Lafayette is now addressing, but there could be the question as to why we didn't address this before. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm not the expert. I'm not running short-term rentals. I'm not spending a lot of time on Airbnb. But when I go there, I start seeing subtle things like, that's the same house, and I know the guy's name, but that's not the name that I'm seeing here. So there's always going to be a little bit of that. There's always going to be someone that's utilizing a system wrong or trying to get through it in a way that maybe isn't the most ethical.
Well, and you mentioned earlier what I would call best practices of having the best practices shared on the front end. Mm-hmm. To help bring in some standardization of what are we really going for here. Yes. So yes.
And change is inevitable. There's nothing wrong with change, but there's a few consistencies in there, like being able to just sit on a porch, talk with somebody face to face, maybe have a drink, only be interrupted by the train.
Isn't it perfect?
And I think we can get that in Lafayette. That's been my hope with this situation that's unfolding, is that short-term rentals in Lafayette can mean something different than they mean anywhere else. It can mean that when you come, you're going to get the feel and appeal that you wanted. And if you were to say come to a town like Lafayette that not only has these commercial services, but apparently has this seal, this brand, this ambassador group, if you will, of people that are above all trying to ensure that your experience is something more than just a room, all of a sudden it's just another part of our economical fabric here, where you go. Not only are you going to have a wonderful time at the festival, eat some of the best food, and just see the joie de vivre of life that these people bring, but even in where they live is the same way. The way they treat their homes and each other, their neighbors. So I do think it can happen. I've seen it happen. I've seen short-term people come in and they become long-term neighbors. So I think like everything in the South, sometimes we just got to get kicked in the rear before we actually get on it and do something about it. And so I think that's where we're at.
You can join the movement and save the day. You can join the movement with LTLA. You can join the movement and save the day. You can join the movement with LT.